morning. My guest today is John Morris Williams, Executive Director, Oklahoma Bar Association. Good to see you, Counselor.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Yesterday was Law Day all across the country. Not a lot of coverage about that, but let's start with what it is, and it has Oklahoma roots.
Yes, it does. Law Day this year was postponed due to COVID. Nationally, Law Day is May 1st, other than this year because of things having to be delayed. It was started in Wewoka, Oklahoma by Hicks Epton, a former president of the Oklahoma Bar Association. In 1951, started with a program of Know Your Courts, Know Your Liberties that evolved into what's the present day Law Day. In 1958, President Eisenhower made a declaration of Law Day, followed by action of Congress. And so it is a nationally recognized day to celebrate the rule of law. And celebrations this year have been curtailed or delayed. But last night we moved forward with our program on OETA and did the Ask a Lawyer program all across the state where lawyers took calls and gave legal advice to people free of charge, and made the best of the situation as we could, considering the circumstances.
All right, let's talk for just a moment about media coverage of the law. There is a ton of coverage, way too much coverage probably of the legislative branch, the executive branch, but the branch dealing with law, our courts, there's not as much coverage. At this 2021 Law Day, this weekend, what are your thoughts that we need to be doing better as media and as a country, understanding what we're dealing with under the rule of law?
Well, I think one of the problems with coverage is that you can't do it quickly and easily in very complicated cases. You can't turn some of these fairly complex situations, either with legal concepts or even factual concepts, into 30-second sound bites or 60-second stories. It's difficult to do. You know, oftentimes when I read a press account of a story or I see a news account, I go and do some digging because I know that, considering the complexity of the legal issues, that short sound bite is usually not the entire story. I mean, there's an enormous amount of information that usually goes into the record in these cases, whether witness testimony, documents, and then even understanding some of the complex legal principles. You know, for instance, copyright or some kind of intellectual property law that's certainly developing now.
All right, we've got about a minute left. There's going to be a lot of action in the courts over mandates, that sort of thing. Where do you see coverage of the law and of our courts and the legal profession in the next 12 months?
Well, I hope that it's, first of all, it's based upon the truth, and that the coverage, hopefully then and in the future, will be partly to educate people to understand what their rights are, what their responsibilities are, what are the legal principles, and how do they stem from our Constitution, and how do they work within the rule of law, the principle that none of us are above the law, and that our law is what makes the determination in disputes rather than people, that the law guides us.
So we got to do a lot of reading, and we will. It's good to see you. John Morris Williams, Executive Director, Oklahoma Bar Association. Thanks for what y'all do every year.
Thank you.
See this again at news9.com/YourVoteCounts, and follow me on Twitter @MitchellTalks.